Welcome back to Go Produce My Crew. My name is Big Lou, and this is the podcast and YouTube channel that explores how music industry professionals turn their passions into profit. We are on a massive mission to bring clarity to the music industry, and our goal is to help 1 million music industry professionals live off of their passion. I'm laying down the foundation that I need in order to thrive in the music industry, and I want to help you do the same. This episode is brought to you by thecharts.com. If you're a producer or beat maker looking to build your beat commerce business in less time, thecharts.com can help. With an easy-to-use, mobile-friendly interface and built-in marketing tools, thecharts.com will help you grow your brand, build your fan base, and scale your income. Sign up for free and start selling your beats and instrumentals today on thecharts.com. Today's theme is, what's an entertainment lawyer's opinion on the best way to protect yourself as an artist in the music industry? Let's go. An attorney with over a decade of experience working with independent labels who owns and operates a small indie label called eMusic Entertainment for indie artists, Debbie Eagle has managed legendary and upcoming artists. She is knowledgeable of the economics and music of the do-it-yourself process. She has experience in finding music, negotiating the purchase of music, writing producer contracts, registering music with PROs, producing music videos, registering copyrights and trademarks, and soliciting radio play. She has also developed marketing and promotion strategies that include social media, merchandising, and PR. She's been on the road and in the studio and can speak to many challenges. She even wrote an instruction manual called For the Record. You can see it in the background, teaching independents working in the industry the basics from beginning a career to putting music out. Go Produce. This is Debbie Eagle. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much, Debbie, for being here. We're very excited. I want you to know that we do very much appreciate your time. So let's go ahead and make the most of this and go produce. Yes?
Yes,
Fantastic.
Let's go.
Let's do it. All right.
I'm ready for you guys.
Okay. I see you got a little friend there. Maybe a little bit more on him a little bit later. But we're going to start off with our first segment. This segment is called The Basics.
Okay.
Debbie Eagle +1. So I gotta ask. First name of the little pup.
Mia.
Hello, Mia. Thank you for joining us. Debbie, for you, what is your first musical memory?
Oh, my mom singing.
Is it a specific song, or was it just the melody of
Well,
her
my
singing all
mom
the time?
my mom was a singer, but she sang a lot of German songs, and she also sang The Sound of Music all the time in the house. The whole album.
The whole album. I mean,
yes.
that album does carry significant impact. So maybe that's why it stuck. Do you think perhaps that influenced a lot of how you feel around music?
Oh, definitely. My mom was always singing every day, always had the music playing. My brother was a great singer. My younger brother plays the guitar, the drums. He's also in a band, has always been. So there's been a lot of musical influence. If I could have been a singer, I would have. I didn't have the voice, but I did love singing.
So you tried. And
I did
so
try.
you sang for fun.
I sang in the Glee Club.
That's awesome. Okay. It's not for everyone. I mean like it's worth a shot, but I quite enjoyed despite not being one of the best. Anyway, we don't have to dwell on that. What is one of the first lessons that you learned within the music industry?
Oh, that people are full of shit.
Amen. I hear you. Okay.
Sorry, that was really raw, but that's the truth.
It's only the truth that we're seeking. And okay, so why was it a specific moment in time? Was it one experience that you're like, okay, this is just a general thing that I can safely say?
No, I think like so many people are so full of nonsense, but the one illustration of how much nonsense there is I remember that somebody I admired a lot, who will remain nameless, sorry, came up to me and said like, oh, I'm putting on this big festival and I'm going to call you and I'm going to put high five on it. And it's going to be on this date and I'm really excited. And it was at my birthday party and I was a big fan of this person. Now, mind you, I hadn't asked them anything. They gave me their phone number, their cell number, their email. And then when I contacted them, they just never returned the call, the emails. And I'm like, okay, I don't get it. Like, I didn't even ask you for anything. And you volunteered and you still were lying. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why
Do you
say
think,
it at all? Just say nothing. Say happy birthday. I hope you enjoy your body. Right?
do you think a lot of it is rooted just behind money, or is it just people just are generally just shit?
I think that people want to fit in and they want to maybe look bigger than they are. So they say things that they can't really hold true to, or something changes. Maybe in the moment they say it, they really do mean it because they're in the moment. They don't think it through. And then they never have the courageousness to say, I overspoke. I can't pull it off now.
Okay, so talking about the different kinds of issues around people just generally not being ideal to work with sometimes, have you been able to detect different ways to pick up on when they just might be problematic?
I think now I'm way more savvy. So really kind of wait to see who people are. I'm not buying anything, right? Like, I'm not getting married on the first date. So now I let people be around me and I'm always my true self, but I don't get invested in anybody or anything they say until I see that they actually are who they say they are. I think that's the one thing I actually represent for myself. Like, I always am who I say I am. I always do what I say I'm going to do. And if something changes for me, I just tell people, listen, I really meant to do it, but here's what happened along the way, which is what precluded me from being able to complete it. And I think that's why I've survived as long as I have, and why people really go out of their way for me, because they know I'm I'm the real deal.
That's awesome. I did see that in your social media, and it does translate to where, like, to how you actually act. I haven't met you in person, but it stays consistent over time. And I wonder, this essentially the lesson that you've drawn from this is built over wisdom. So would you suggest any strategies for people just starting off? Is it almost just give people time to show their true colors, or how would you go about advising younger professionals?
I think that you have to take everything with a grain of salt, but when people are coming at you, don't listen to what they're saying. Actually do the research, right? So people will get offered deals. Maybe they'll get excited about it because as an independent artist, it's impossible to win in this game alone. You have to have a team. So people, maybe people will come, they'll make big promises with money or help or support or great producers. And people want the help, so they sign on the dotted line. But they don't really do the research to who is promising them that, and are they even capable of delivering that. So I would always say, like, look before you leap.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're going to get a little bit further into that. So that's awesome, an awesome prelude. Final question for the basics is, what is the greatest challenge that you currently face outside of COVID?
I think finding artists who have the criteria that I think it takes to really make it. I find a lot of great qualities in people. And if I could put 5 people together, I'd probably have a superstar. I think to be a superstar, there are certain qualities you need, and most people don't have it.
Would you be able to list out those qualities?
Fire in the belly, fire in the belly, fire in the belly, fire in the belly. It's my number one criteria, which for me is like a driving ambition that nobody's stopping you. Some talent. I think talent is highly overrated because I think if you have some talent and you have fire in the belly, you will be great, even if you're not great now, because you'll do everything it takes to be great. Great stage performance. How about a good personality? How about being able to engage people and talk to people and have a friendly, nice, happy personality? That's like, yeah, that's rare. How about humility? How about being willing to learn? Okay, that's 6 that I would start with.
That's a pretty solid start. I mean, if you can have all of those, you've got a super strong foundation, and there's not very much that can stop you other than yourself at that point.
Correct.
Yeah,
I would agree.
I
would say that's a Cardi B example. Like, I don't think, I love Cardi B, no disrespect. But when she first started, I don't think she was good. And she had those qualities, and look at her now.
Exactly. It's the potential that you got to look for previously. I like how you specified that. Nice, nice. We made it through the basics. We're going into the next round, the speed round. So what we're going to be doing in the speed round is I'm going to throw 20 questions at you at rapid pace, and you answer them with just one question, or sorry, one word.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's try this.
Beautiful. No justification during. We can afterwards.
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite snack?
Pasta.
Signing a music contract is like signing a marriage license.
Correct.
Would you go to the moon?
No.
Who's an artist that you currently find the most exciting?
Megan Thee Stallion.
You should think twice about using an attorney the label directs to you.
Correct.
What is your favorite time of day?
The morning.
At the end of the day, you want a nice big glass of?
Vodka and tonic.
Are you still in contact with Tristan Irby of High Five?
On occasion.
Where's your favorite place in the world?
The beach.
Do you express yourself in any way artistically?
I think in everything I do. Oh, everything.
Do you prefer going on tour or being in the studio?
Both.
Where's your next vacation spot?
Florida.
Do you have any nicknames?
Boss.
Fourth. Are DJs the front lines?
Boss.
Boss. Got you. Are DJs the front line? They're laughing in the background too. Are DJs the front lines of music?
Absolutely.
What is your favorite animal or planet?
My dog.
What is your favorite music genre?
R&B.
How many years have you been at this for?
Over a decade.
Do you prefer to read or watch movies/shows?
Shows.
If movie is to watch, then Netflix is to?
Popcorn.
And lastly, do you prefer law or music business?
Music business.
All right. We made it through the speed round.
I just want to say that is one of the best speed rounds we've had.
It was quite effective. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of times mostly it's me messing up. But we made it through.
But that's a given, though. That's no surprise.
Okay, so first, before I ask for my justifications, anything stand out to you?
No.
No. Okay, so boss, I messed that up. Where did boss come from?
Oh my God, I had that when I was a kid. It's just who I am.
Say less. And then DJs being the front lines of music. We spoke on another episode about how you can like break artists, but can you share a little bit why you think DJs, just real quick on that?
Because they play on radio and clubs, at parties, they're still breaking music. And I think that if you are an independent artist and you don't have a relationships with DJs, you're making a huge mistake, because as an independent artist, you don't have radio budgets. So you better figure out another way to break music.
I mean, that makes a good point. And DJs are fun people typically, so it's not like a hard relationship to maintain, so long as you're a fun person and you can contribute it towards them as well, you know?
Right. Like I am a special counsel to the Fleet DJs, and that's a coalition. And they have an amazing event in July, which is July 9th through the 12th in Jacksonville, Florida. It moves every year. And it's a great conference. There's over 300 DJs from across the United States. There's radio label execs, radio and label executives. There's people like me, attorneys, there's artists. So if you want to get involved, you should come to the conference. Just look it up. It's the Fleet DJs. You can find it on the internet in Jacksonville, Florida, July 9th through the 12th. I'll be there in full force with my artists, and I'm easy to talk to. So come through.
That's awesome. And then outside of the conference there in Jacksonville, Florida, which I kind of want to go to, how would you suggest that artists build relationships with DJs? How can they provide value to DJs outside of just like, hey, spamming them?
Right. It's about building relationships, right? You're not going to go on a date and ask somebody to marry you because they're going to think you're nuts. So when you come at a DJ, you don't know, and you're like, yo, play my song. And they're like, yo, this person doesn't have any etiquette. They don't understand the business. And no, I'm not doing it, right? You have to have relationships. So all of these DJ coalitions, like there's plenty of them, Heavy Hitters, Nerve DJs, Cool Runnings, DJ Vertigo. There's tons of DJ coalitions. You can actually download my book. It's called For the Record. It's on my website. I have a whole list of all the DJ coalitions, and they are grounded in different areas of the country. So you can definitely find one that's in your area. And then they all do local events. Even though the Fleet DJs comes out of North Carolina, they have regional like presidents in New York, New Jersey, all the other states. So you can get involved with them on a regional level, go out and support their shows. They do showcases, they break music, they have listening events. So it's not hard and it's not expensive. It's just being real, show up, be yourself, and build relationships. That's what this whole music business is really all about.
Yeah. If that's the goal that you want to achieve, those are the steps that you're going to have to take. Awesome. Makes a lot of sense. And we will also be including those notes and the event information in the show notes in case anyone wants those.
Awesome.
That is the speed round, Debbie. We are going now into What's Yo Take? All right. In this segment specifically, we're going to present you with different statements or scenarios, and we just want your perspective. Cool?
Cool.
What's your take on artists fully relying on their team to navigate the music business?
Be careful.
Don't do any work. Yeah.
Be careful.
Essentially, okay.
Because A, you may get jacked. And I would say that the artist is the top of the pyramid. So if you're not doing no work, first of all, I ain't working with you. But besides that, if you're not doing no work, you're not motivating nobody. So I don't really know how that really all works out for you in the end.
Okay, so what about if they are motivated to do some work, but they're not at all interested in learning the music business part of it? Is that,
and
what would you say to that?
Be careful, because you may have a lot of your money taken from you. You have to understand the business. Like if you were going to open up a Modell's or a Sporting Authority or Dick's, right? All same kind of thing, depending on the country where you are. You have to understand, what kind of product do I put in here? What's my rent cost? What's the electric cost? How much staff do I have to hire? How do I market it? How do I promote it? If you don't understand those things, you can't run a business. And if you want to be an artist and you don't want to be in the business of music, then it's a hobby, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with having a hobby, but that doesn't mean you can make money or keep track of your money or be smart about your money. There's plenty of people in the 90s, and we can list tons of names of people who were in the business, had many multi-platinum records, and don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of now. So you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is some degree of trust that the artist is supposed to have for the support around them. But specifically, what kind of work should the artist be doing that works nicely with the rest of the work that is being done with the team?
I think the artist has to be their true self. I really believe in that, because like if you're a sourpuss, and I say this to my artists all the time, listen, if you're a sourpuss, please be your true self so that I can get rid of you real quick, because I need to know, because it's not going to work, right? And if you're a fake nice person, it's going to last just till, I don't know, until you get sick of being a fake nice person. It's not going to work. So I think you have to be your real self, and then you're going to pull close to you people who are similar or like that. So if you're a sourpuss, maybe you pull some gangster rappers close to you, and maybe that works for you. But you have to be real, because you can't survive in this business being fake, because you won't be able to endure it. So I think you have to be real. I think you have to be a hard worker, though. You should be the first one up and the first one to the event and the last one out the door. I think that's really how it needs to work. If you've got the fire in your belly and you want to succeed, you got to work hard. There's 40 to 60,000 songs being dropped a day. So how do you stand out?
Yeah.
You got to have great music, but it takes more than great music.
Can you direct us anywhere where you may find resources for artists so that they can get better in terms of like their performance or their knowledge in the business industry, that kind of stuff?
I think that honestly, I teach a course online. I have invested a lot of time and energy to build it out. I think I'm more than fair in my pricing, probably to my own disadvantage, because I'm really trying to help people. So you can go to my website, emusicentertainment.net, and look at it. If you don't want to take the course, you can download the book. It's $20. If you can't spend $20 on yourself, you're definitely in the wrong business. And I would say that you can do a lot of research on the internet. You'll get a lot of differing opinions. But if you read enough, you can form your own opinion. And maybe that's the opinion that works for you. But there's enough resources. It's just really picking and culling through what are the right ones for you, because you cannot do it all. So let's say we're going to talk about social media. If you want to be on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or Facebook or Snapchat, whatever one you want to be on, and you probably need to be on more than one. You need to understand the platform, who it caters to, how it works, what are the new features that they're putting out so that you can use them. It takes time. It takes energy. It takes work. If you have money, you can pay somebody to teach you. If not, you can teach yourself. Like you can go to the bottom of YouTube. They have the YouTube Academy. You can learn everything you ever wanted to know about YouTube on YouTube, but you have to have an investment of time. So you either have to spend time or money. It's the only way to do it. And you have to choose what's more valuable to you.
With time or money, you're investing something. It has to be one or the other.
Correct.
During this period of less show times, what do you have your artists doing so that they can like maintain their sharpness? Are they writing a lot? What kind of work are you making sure that they do?
They're in the studio writing and creating music, and they better be home practicing their stage performance, because I think that it all begins and ends with a great song. But then the next thing up to bat is a great stage performance, because that's what you're judged on, and that's how you get new fans. So if you go out there and you're a great singer and you stand at the mic, to me, you're boring. I could put on the radio and listen to that. I can put on Spotify and listen to that. I want to be entertained. So I teach my artists, depending upon the level they're at, that they have to create a performance. And that could be using the mic in a way like High Five was very good at using the mic stand as like a partner, throwing it out, bringing it back, bending over, doing different things. It could be creating a slideshow behind you. It could be getting down on the floor with the people and interacting with them. But everybody's got to figure it out for themselves and what they're comfortable and what they're good at. Dancing is hard for people. Dancing and singing is hard. Women have it even harder. Guess what? They got to practice in their high heels. Nobody wants to see a woman in flats. It's just not sexy. So women really have a harder go round in this business, because they have to have their hair done, their nails done, their clothes done. They got to be in high heels. It's harder for a woman than it is for a man. That's for sure. They got to look good. So, these are all the things that they have to be spending their time on now while they're home sitting with themselves or in the studio.
That's unreal. So outside of actually performing and outside of actually writing, a lot of the time spent, or hopefully by your artists, is refining their craft for presentation, because
Correct.
Engagement is everything.
Right. They could be on social media. That's another thing. And they could do virtual shows. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to be not virtual again, but there's an art to doing a virtual show and it looking good also. As you can see, we've had like 2 glitches in this when my screen went out. So, you got to get better at it.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. What's your take on using an attorney that the label directs to you?
I would say it's probably not in your best interest, because, I guess it depends. It depends how savvy the artist is. So if I have a relationship with Atlantic and they want to sign you, I'm going to do everything in my power to get you signed for Atlantic's benefit, because Atlantic is the one who's feeding me, right? So there's that. Now, also, if they have a great relationship and they've done a lot of deals, maybe they can get somebody who's coming in from the outside can. There's trade-offs in all of it, but you should always have somebody who is in the entertainment business look at your contract. I've seen some people go to their real estate attorney to have them look at an entertainment contract. And that's a recipe for disaster, because they don't understand the lingo. I just bought a place, and I have one of my friends who's a real estate attorney doing my closing. I could probably do it because I used to do this, but I don't want to because everything changes and maybe I'll miss something that'll be to my own detriment. You got to have, like, you wouldn't have an orthopedic doctor operate on your eyes, right? You'd go to the ophthalmologist. Same thing in the music business. You've got to really have a professional who knows what they're doing, who's got your best interest at heart.
Okay. So that may or may not be the label that you're currently signed with.
Correct.
Is there a strategy that you use specifically because you also are an attorney? And then a follow-up to that.
No, I do represent them. I represent them for different things like producer agreements. I represent them for, I sign them to me, right? So they're dealing with me in that contract, but they're always free to get their attorney. I don't ever stop them if that's what they want to do.
Right.
Most of the artists that I'm working with are at such a beginner level. They're just happy that they have an attorney who's doing legal agreements for them for free, because I don't charge them when I do it because I'm trying to protect them because they're with me.
Got you. Makes sense. That's awesome. And so in a pursuit, not necessarily for your artist, for any artist starting up, what might be some red flags when finding an actual entertainment attorney? Like, don't look for a real estate lawyer. That's
right.
That's a given. But when you're dealing with an entertainment lawyer, how might they dupe you?
I think for the artist to understand, the artist needs to understand what they need from the attorney, right? Because if I come to you, like a lot of attorneys do billable hours. Some attorneys will do like a contract fee. So, okay, you want a contract from me, it's going to cost you $250, $500. And it doesn't matter how many times I rewrite it. This is the fee I'm giving you. If it's billable hours, you need to come on point with the questions you need answered. So you have to have some technical understanding so that you're not just burning through money. So I would say come prepared.
With all your questions ahead of time. Makes sense. Okay, cool. And in terms of that, what's your take on record labels being great opportunities to get your music in front of audiences and help you build fans as opposed to not having a record label?
I'm a big fan of major record labels. I know that's not a popular opinion out here,
Definitely
but
not.
I think any independent artist who can get a major deal should absolutely try to do it. I think they should understand what their strengths and weaknesses are. They should try to get an attorney to negotiate a great deal for them, which in my opinion would be as little amount of time as possible. So if they want a 7-year deal and you get a 5-year deal, you did a good job. I think that they also need to understand that getting signed to a major is like being in the minor leagues in baseball. They already got their stars. They already got their Derek Jeters. They've already got their Alex Rodriguez on the plate. They're batting. They're bringing in the home runs. They're doing great pitching. They're doing great shortstop stuff. They sign you. That doesn't mean you're getting up to bat. So the fire you had that got you attention to be even looked at by the major is the same fire you need when you get to the major. It's not like, yo, I arrived. I got my advance. I'm going to go buy me a big fat chain, some gold teeth, and arrive. No, take that money, invest it in a business, buy yourself a house, because if this all goes to shit, at least you got a roof over your head, right? And get in there and work harder, because now you're competing against the A-listers. So you better be good or you better get better. That's my opinion, because nobody is going to spend the kind of money that big record labels are going to spend. Nobody. So if you're signed to a major record label for 5 years, let's say, and you're working your ass off and they're throwing $5, $10, $15 million into the pot for you to be successful, guess what? After those 5 years, you can write your own ticket anywhere. You have to have a strategy when you go in. So yes, maybe you make 15% instead of 50% being with, let's say, an indie label. But you know what? There's always a philosophy, I say. Would you rather have like 80% of something or 100% of nothing, right? You have to think about this. If they're spending $15 million, they're trying to get you to, platinum status, right? So even if you're only making 15 cents on a single, but you're selling multi-million singles, you're still making more money than you're probably making at an independent record label that doesn't have the money to fund a radio campaign. That time is ticking. Now you're getting older, and it's harder and harder for you to actually achieve superstar status. Now, if that's not your goal, if your goal is just to have creative freedom, some money, maybe an independent works for you. But if your goal is to be a superstar, I don't really see how you're getting there without a major.
So do you think maybe the bad reputation that majors are getting is because there is a rise of independent artists and that mentality is more popular? Or is it because the majors have been like so ruthless to artists in the past that now artists want to become independent?
Okay, you're blessed. You have a talent. Your talent is, I can sing and I can write lyrics, right? Maybe you can't do melodies, maybe you can't produce, but you have that talent. Cool. Guess what? I have a talent. I'm smart. I went to law school. I became an attorney. My talent, I can turn into money. Your talent, you can turn into money. That doesn't make you more important than me or me more important than you. If we're running a business, we take the assets and we figure out how to monetize them. Artists feel like they're taken advantage of, but they don't understand the business. Distribution gets a piece. PR gets a piece. Lawyers get a piece. Accountants get a piece. Publishing gets a piece. And somebody's willing to maybe put millions of dollars into you. They have to get a return on their investment. But money is going out all over the place. So there isn't that much to give to you. And I think it's really a matter of perspective. You may have opportunities with a major that you will never have in your life. And I'm sorry to say, this is still a young person's game. The older you get, the harder it is to be really hugely successful. So you got to also think about that. Like, okay, I'm 17 years old and I got a 5-year record deal. I'm going to be 23, but I got, another 10 years ahead of me in the music business. They blow me up. I'm a household name. Now my life is easy. I think it's a matter of how you look at it. In the 90s, when they signed a lot of people like High Five and TLC and New Edition and all these people, they were kids. Their parents maybe didn't understand the music business. Maybe they didn't have great attorneys. So these kids, and I know this for a fact, blew through the money. They'd go on the hotel, they'd stay on the phone, they'd run up $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 bills, order room service, all this stuff because they didn't understand it was getting recouped. So they weren't fiscally educated. And then, maybe their percentage was small. But I think what the other take on this is they got to see the whole world, which maybe they never would have got, in a different circumstance. And if them or their parents understood fiscally how the game was won, maybe they would have did something different with the money as it was coming in. So I don't think the labels are the big bad boogeymen. I think if I had $15 million to spend on somebody, that's a lot of risk. This game is very, very risky. And I'm going to hedge my bet to make sure that I come out on top. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. People in corporate America do it all the time.
Yeah, I see strengths to both sides. I mean, like superstardom, if that's your goal, you're probably going to want to go there, and you may want to have some credibility or some momentum under your belt so that you can negotiate a better deal. But if that is your goal, for sure, I see where you're coming from. It's quite interesting. However, what if artists... Do you think it's safe that artists view record deals as like a saving grace?
I think it's all perspective. Like when I've done some major deals with artists, I always say just what I said to you. Take this advance and go buy a house. Take the money and do something that creates stability in your life. Take the money and go create another company. so that you have multiple streams of income, because you never know when this is going to be taken away. There's not a lot of artists. There's a lot of artists today that can make a success, but it's not sustainable because we're in a very quick turnaround time and music is changing consistently. And honestly, a lot of the people who make it don't have songwriting skills. I mean, we're in a different day and age where people, they can maybe do a rap or do something and it's catchy and it catches on, but that doesn't mean it's sustainable. You know, we have people like Aretha Franklin who had like 60, 70-year careers. You don't see that here now. Yeah, you got your Beyonce, but you know, you got your Taylor Swift, but a lot of people are here today and gone tomorrow. So I think that the one thing I would say to artists is it's great to be in the studio and chill with your homeboys and, you know, learn that way. But if you want to be successful, you have to take songwriting courses. You've got to step up your game and get with better people so that you can level up. That's what I really feel. I don't think that people spend enough time in their craft. They spend a lot of time in their hobby.
Yeah, makes sense. And a lot of the money that they're receiving from whatever deal that they may have achieved, they're typically, often, not speaking for everyone, have just tossing it away on ridiculous expenses. So if they're not investing in themselves, it can be difficult. But can you, for the listeners' sake, expand on what recoupable costs are so that people are aware of how they can use this money to invest in themselves?
Sure. So when you get an advance, if it's $150,000, right, from a record label, they get to recoup that back before they pay you on the profits. If you have an expense account when you're on the road and you're ordering room services or you're renting a Lamborghini or you're taking a private jet to your next gig and the record label's paying for it, they get to get all that money back before you get your royalties. So you're paying for it. You're just paying for it on the back end. So you have to be fiscally sound in the way you spend your money because it's all coming out of you. It's not coming out of them. They're just the bank lending it to you.
It's a bank system and it's a lending system. Very true. Very cool. Beautifully said. We've got our next segment. Our next segment is called Community Queries.
Here we go.
Here we go. All right. So what we're going to do in Community Queries is we actually have a couple of fans sent in a couple of questions ahead of time. So the first one is from Catherine. She is a founder of CNG Entertainment. You can find her at Instagram, CNG_entertainment. And this is her question.
Hey guys, what's up? It's CNG Entertainment here. And I just want to give a big shout out to Go Produce for having me on one of their episodes. What was the worst experience you ever had working with independent labels? Peace out.
Wow. Wow. I think I've had quite a few. I'll just give you one. You build a relationship with somebody, you think that you have this common bond, you are working towards a goal that you have both agreed upon. And me as the attorney, I do all the upfront work and then they ghost you. But now they've got all the product that they needed and they're gone. So I don't do that anymore.
Lesson learned. Lesson learned. Yes. You can do that once and you don't do that again.
Right.
Awesome. That was Catherine. Thank you so much, Catherine. Here we've got Manuela. She is a cultural creative in London, Ontario. This is her question.
Hi, quick question. I was wondering, what can young artists and artists who are just starting do when a big label steals material from them? What are the steps that they can take when they don't have necessarily the financial power to sue the big label? And what do you recommend for them to do?
Well, if you were in the United States, I would say the first thing you have to do is copyright your song. If your song is copyrighted, you would go to an entertainment attorney who takes copyright infringement cases, and you would tell them, here's the song, here's my song, it's copyrighted, here's the song that they copied. And if it's a really big star, like a Drake, right? Drake's from Canada, and he infringed on your song, you don't really have to worry about if you have a lot of money, because if that song is getting 1 million streams and you legitimately, it was stolen from you, they're going to do a deal where they get 1/3 of the settlement. So you don't have to worry. But you definitely have to have in the United States, you have to have your song copyright before you can bring a case of infringement.
So you're going to want to copyright before you release.
It is really copywritten once it's out. It's just for in the United States to sue, you have to do the formal registration. Now, my understanding in Europe is you don't have to do that. So I think it depends, because I know she said she was from Canada. So I'm being very specific about the United States.
Makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Manuela once again. Lastly, we've got Cash Flow. He is an artist, producer, and writer in Toronto, and he's got one final question for you.
Hello, my name is Kaj. I'm an artist, producer, and writer here in the Toronto pop scene. And my question today is, what would you say are the top 3 legal considerations that an artist or writer should really seriously think about before signing a record label or publishing deal? Thank you for your answer. I look forward to it.
I think before signing a record label or publishing deal, you need to understand who the company is. I think I have looked over a lot of deals for a lot of people in the independent lane, and I think people are flattered when they get a deal. But you have to look at the company. And I would say even do this. Who are their artists? Go to Spotify or any streaming platform, see how well their artists are doing. What is the genre of music? Who is their support team? Who's on their administrative staff? How long have they been there? Can they support your artistry? Now, in the publishing game, it's really about when you get a publishing deal, unlike a label deal, they give you an advance. It's not recoupable, right? So they're banking on being able to sell your music and your writing skills. So if they give you $150,000 advance and the songs you give them, they can never sell, they never get their money back. So I think publishing deals are really, they do a lot more research into who they're signing, and probably there's more stability there because they really have to have a strong belief because there is no recoup, and they have to really understand who you are. Again, it's got to be a good fit. I think that is probably the most important thing. And do they believe in you? Because if you get signed to a label that's a good label, but you don't have a champion behind you pushing for you and advocating inside the company, that's another problem. There's lots of people who wind up in that situation because the A&R brings them in and then the A&R leaves. And then the next A&R comes along, but they're not really into your music. So they're bringing their own projects in and that's what they're promoting. So you want to go somewhere where maybe the A&R has a long history there, or maybe they're a part owner. Hopefully you can find that kind of fit so they're not leaving. So if they really believe in you, you know you're going to have a long-term relationship with them.
Yeah, they're the ones back there pushing you. Beautifully said. Thank you so much for your answer, and big shout out to Cash for your question. You can find him on Instagram at CajFlow. That's CAJFLOW. Last segment of our show today is called Clear the Air. In this segment, I like you to bring clarity, essentially, to these more dense questions. However, the first question, we're coming up a little bit close on time. So the first question, I want to go through a little bit quicker. But I do want to ask, because as I was doing some research on your history, I realized that you were a nurse prior to going to law school. And something very interesting was that you were a leader in the New York Nurses Union, representing more than 9,000 nurses in the state of New York. So I'm curious, were there any experiences that you gained there that helped you, or that you applied into your career as what you're doing now?
Real briefly, I was very, very involved in the political scene in New York. I helped run Eliot Spitzer's campaign. I know David Paterson. I had a lot of really heavy concentration in politics. And I think, unfortunately, every one of those skills was transferable because it's about networking. I would also say that a lot of politicians are full of shit. So, it's kind of sort of similar. Sorry.
That's two things similar: the music industry and politics, full of shit. That's cool. No, but I did find that quite interesting, and like the fact that you were able to do that at such a young age obviously translated to greatness further down the road. Can you clear the air as well on copyright and trademarks for artists? We spoke a little bit earlier on other items that artists should be considering with deals, but specifically copyright, how does that look like?
Okay, so if you put your music out in the public, if you release it through a distributor and it's out publicly, you are copyrighted. Again, in the United States, if you want to sue somebody because they steal your song, you have to have it registered at the Copyright Office. If you haven't registered it, you can do like a quick registration, but it's expensive. It's $800. And the other thing you got to be worried about is that the other party copyrighted the song first. So it's a little tricky.
Is it $800 per song or per project?
Yeah. Well, it depends. If it's all this, if you're the writer, producer, singer, songwriter, it's $800 for the whole project. But anytime there's a change, then you have to file a separate copyright. So if you have 10 different producers, it's 10 copyrights.
Of course.
Also, I think trademark, people want to trademark things, but they don't understand trademark. So if I want to trademark, I'll tell you, I trademarked BMW. This was a label that I had put together with Tristan from High Five. It was Bronx Most Wanted. So we wanted to trademark Bronx Most Wanted Entertainment. And we used the acronym BMW. Now, obviously, there's BMW, the car, of course, that's trademark, but they're in the car business. So how trademark works is it's by category. So BMW is trademarked as cars, it's trademarked as clothing lines, it's trademarked as key rings, it's trademarked in everything that has to do with cars, but they're not trademarked in the entertainment business. We weren't trying to be BMW or Bronx Most Wanted Entertainment. Okay, they came after us and they did not allow the trademark to go through because they said, we've spent $1 billion on our brand and you're diluting it and it's going to cause confusion. We changed it to BX for Bronx Most Wanted. So it was BXMW and they allowed it to go through. So you think it's very clear cut, but it's not. Even if the trademark's available, somebody else may come along and say you're diluting their brand. And if they got a strong enough brand like Apple or Pepsi or Coke, you're not going to win.
It's not gonna win,
Also, it's trademark happens in categories. So if you want to be a record label and you want to trademark eMusic Entertainment, what am I trademarking it as? Am I trademarking it for producing music? Am I trademarking it for creating music videos? Am I trademarking it from my shirts? What am I trademarking it? Because every one of those trademarks is a separate fee. Last but not least, when you trademark in the United States, you can bet your life you're spending a year to 3 years to get the trademark. It has to be renewed. It has to be upkept. And just because you get it doesn't mean you have it for life. So there's a lot that goes into it that people don't understand. And I would say to any artist, the most important thing you can do to start your career, forget about the trademark, buy your domain name. That's where you should start. So at least you own that. And then maybe down the line, you can look at trademark if you really need to, but it's not a simple process.
It definitely does not sound like a simple process. And I'm kind of a little bit struggling to see where the benefits would come in from that. You say don't do it at the beginning, get your domain name, but what point in your career as an artist do you think it'd be wise to get that trademark?
I think when you start to get a buzz, then you want to do it because you don't want somebody else grabbing some piece of it or kind of infringing on your name. But you really have to have a buzz going to do it, I think.
Makes sense. That makes sense. And where's the best place to do that? You just go online and be like, hey, I want to trademark something, or you go to a specific office?
You can try to do it online. You probably would have to watch every single video and you still might not do it right. If you don't do it right, you lose your money. This is something that attorneys do. I'm not a big fan of it. I do it for friends because for the nominal amount I'm going to charge you, maybe $1,000, I'm going to have to deal with this trademark for maybe 3 years. It's not worth my time. So I don't really love doing them. I only do them for people who are really close to me and need the help. It's a tedious long-term thing that goes on with trademarking. till you get to completion.
Yeah, interesting. I had no idea on any of that. So you definitely cleared the air there. Clear the air on the different types of music contracts. You said that you've done production agreements, you've done distribution, music group agreements,
Management, group agreements if there's a group. Let's see, booking agreements, writers. Oh, most important, split sheets, right? Everybody
Yeah.
should be doing split sheets no matter what level you're at. What
so
else?
do you find like a commonality across all of these kinds of contracts, or how are they similar and different essentially?
They all have legal language that nobody understands. But they do really all outline different roles and responsibilities that protect whoever you're writing it for. If I'm writing, let's say, if I'm a producer, if I'm writing a contract for a producer, I'm writing it to protect the producer. If you're buying the song and I'm writing it for you, I'm writing that contract to protect you. I'm going to put different clauses in depending whose side I'm protecting. This is why when two attorneys get together, they start maybe debating the language because each one is trying to protect their own client, and different things are put in contracts to protect the party that you're working with.
That's interesting. I don't want to dive too far into that, but how do you handle that situation as an attorney, as an artist as well?
I only worry about who I'm writing it for.
Makes sense. Keep the goal clear in mind.
Right.
I think everyone should just keep the goal clear in mind. As the attorney, as the artist, I think that's very sound advice. We are also at the very end of here. So with that, I'm asking, do you have any closing remarks, Debbie?
No, thanks for having me. It was really fun. It was very different. I enjoyed it.
Beautiful, beautiful. We did touch on For the Record. We did touch on the entertainment record label that you have as well. So all of that will be in the show notes. However, can you mention where our listeners can find you or any other resources that you want to point out?
Sure. eMusic Entertainment, everything. All social media, both of my websites. One's emusicentertainment.net. That's where my educational platform is, the book, blog, tons of information for free. The book is $20. The course is there. That's available. emusicentertainment.com is the record label. If you want to check out my artists, I have a blog there. Different stories on both blogs.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Debbie. That's everything. We out.
Oh, one more thing. I have a
we're not
playlist on
out.
Spotify. eMusic Entertainment playlist on Spotify. Follow
nice,
me
okay.
there.
Got it. We will add that all. Thank you so much. We out for real. This episode is brought to you by thecharts.com. If you're a producer or beat maker looking to build your beat commerce business in less time, thecharts.com can help. Remember that you can sign up for free and start selling your beats and instrumentals today at thecharts.com. Big shout out to all parties involved. You can find more value at our website at goproduce.ca. Connect with me on Instagram at go.produce. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. If you're on Apple or Spotify, make sure to hit download. This will really help us grow our community. I'm Big Lou, and this is Go Produce.